was thinking about this notion of retirement, and retirement sort of is, I guess, the analogy would be that when you think about retirement, it's two phases. It's almost like an old vinyl record, right, where you had side A, side B. Retirement, in fact, has a side A and a side B, and maybe has more in common with those old records than we think. Simply because there are definitely distinctly two phases of retirement. We see it often with clients. There's the early years, the active, the adventurous years, and then the years where less of that kind of activity happens. And it's interesting because most people think that I'm going to need more money in those latter years of retirement. The reality is, and there's a ton of studies on this that say that you actually need more money in those first few years of retirement when you're young and active. We just actually had a young and recently retired couple last weekend closed down Oktoberfest in Munich. That's about as adventurous as you can get, and certainly a pretty active start to one's retirement when you're in there in the big beer tents and having a good time with your 10,000 of your closest German neighbors, but that's an interesting way to start retirement. But we had a couple that did that, and that's exciting. But that also means that you need money to do that because that's not next door. So that's the point about thinking about retirement and sort of the two phases of retirement, where that first phase of retirement is going to be different than the second phase. And important to recognize that, in the first few years of retirement, the chances are very high that you're going to actually spend more money than in the latter few years of retirement. Another sort of key takeaway that we always talk about on the program and when we meet with people in the office is, one of the key components of a successful retirement is the importance of kind of of having emotional resilience and contentment sort of as we go through the aging process. And it kind of goes to the point of there's so much more to retirement than just kind of the numbers. I always start sort of retirement planning conversations off with the same question, which is, what are you going to do the rest of your life? I typically would say, you're a young person, because reality is I'm getting closer and closer to those ages. So yes, still young. And so we always ask that question right at the very beginning to kind of get a reaction of what